Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today at your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the scam, and there's quite a few of them around now, certainly that I've noticed, where whether it's universities or businesses or quangos or whatever, they're saying, well, we're going to get rid of our diversity, equity, inclusion department. We're going to we're going to fire all these crazy radicals, and we're moving back to the centre here, to the straight and narrow, and so on. So I'll look at a couple of examples here just to show you what a scam this is. Now, there's a university where they came under a lot of scrutiny for having an insane bunch of activists in the diversity department, and if you weren't a black, lesbian, transgender person, you couldn't become a student or something. It was crazy stuff, and quite rightly they came under scrutiny for their super radical activism and just pure insanity. And so various donors and even government funding was taken away. So and the express thing was that we're not going to pay for or contribute to or in any way subsidize the DEI agenda. This was the thing that was the message that was being delivered again from donors and from government funding and so on. So what does the university do? Well, they do a big headline of they're firing the entire diversity department, the media that's very sympathetic with DEI, of course, because it's a central part of the globalist agenda to make the Western world completely dysfunctional. The media have pathos stories about the suffering these people are going to go through, and they're contemplating all sorts of self-harm, and this is caused by the patriarchy. They're managing to inject all slaveries and this and that, whitey bad, white supremacy, patriarchy, misogyny. It's all, they go on full-blown thing. Anyway, so they're firing them now. I always thought this was a bit suspicious, because when I noticed that quite a few universities came under a lot of scrutiny for radical gender studies programs back in the day, and some universities made a big fanfare of, hey, look, we've listened to the criticism, we've understood it, we've taken it on board, and we're going to close down the gender studies department. But instead, what they did is they distributed gender studies subjects into, or gender studies, core type approach to study and ideology and fanaticism. They distributed that amongst all the other courses in the university. So now, if you want to say I don't know, any course, it could be engineering. There'll be a question in the exams, and when you doing your thesis or your projects and so on, when that question will be, what has been the effect of engineering on women? One question. What has been the effect of engineering on the LGBTQ community? So they go straight into the ideology where there's no right or wrong, and they go straight into that, which means that any radicalized lesbian or activist can go and do engineering or any subject and still have access to the same questions and study format and examination format and grading format as she would have had in a gender studies class. So they closed down gender studies, big headline, but just distributed gender studies out through every other course. So the university and the university administration, the faculty, the whole 9 yards, were all in on this. And for some reason, that never made the headlines. The media stayed quiet on it. The political class stayed quiet. There was nobody talking about what took me 5 minutes to discover. So when I saw these headlines of they've got rid of the diversity department, I thought, no, they haven't. They've just moved it around, was my first take on it. So I got a few of the names of it, which wasn't hard. Got some of the names, all of this done online, by the way. got some of the names from the diversity officers and diversity director that were supposedly fired, and then looked up. They've all been re-employed throughout the university. They've just moved into other departments. One of them's now working in the the lesbian dance theory course study. Another one's moved into the psychology study or psychiatry, and another one's moved into social work, another one's moved into sociology. So they've just spread them around throughout the university. They've just re-employed them. Now, the thing that I find particularly irritating is that they tried to pretend that, look, we're firing these people through no fault of their own. They're high performers. These people are at the cutting edge of high performance. They're fucking geniuses. And it's only those damn fucking fascist fucking Nazis. Hitler has personally come to make sure these people are getting fired for no reason. They're good people doing good work. Don't you understand that, you fucking Nazi? So they made a big show about this. And because they were so hard done by, the university paid them between 3 and 4 months' pay, like a lump sum. It was like a gift, a lottery win or something. Just a gift of money that given to these people. And a diversity director, who's an obese, low IQ black woman, she's already on a pretty good wicket. So she's on a good sum of money there. Far beyond anything she could make in the real world. So, in the fantasy world of DEI, she gets a big salary, but which isn't money she's spending going to the gym, let me tell you. So they've all been re-employed. So they get this big lump sum payout, and then they're moved into all these other departments. And I figured that was probably approximately at least what was going on. But the university's been incredibly deceitful in this regard. These people have not been fired. These people have been richly rewarded and then re-employed. So the university faculty and management decided, no, we want to continue this diversity, equity, and inclusion. The fact that there are people out there who are financing it who disagree and don't want it, and the public don't want it, and the local government doesn't want that sort of thing. Well, screw them. We're social justice warriors out to re-engineer the world, and everyone else can just get fucked. And this is very much their attitude. So they're determined to continue with it. So it shows that the low IQ flunkies in the diversity department aren't they're not the decision makers. They're not the string pullers. There are people behind the curtain that are pulling the strings and just using those low IQ stooges as people out front to give the illusion that there's some sort of social justice going on here rather than social engineering. So I figured that was the case. Now there's a business. A business is very much caught up in the globalization scam. They're being used or are used willingly, as far as I can tell, to facilitate mass migration. So they have these big labour-intensive work projects, and they insist that they can't find local workers to do the work, which is an absolute fucking lie, by the way. But they insist they can't, and then hand in glove with the globalist controlled government, this globalist stooge company then brings out thousands of peasants to supposedly come and fill jobs that can't be filled, and so they bring these people out. They then they give them work visas without any scrutiny or checking. I mean, if these people got any skills at all, they're illiterate peasants from the third world with no skills who've never had a job. They're being brought out, and then they're allowed to bring out relatives, and then they're given, residency status, citizen status. I mean, it's a massive scam. Now, this company had a big diversity department, same sort of thing, low IQ black and brown people and LGBTQ, your classic sort of rent a mob placard waving crowd, and they did the same. They came under quite a bit of pressure, and they re-employed again these people around the various departments, so they become counsellors or advisors or race relations advisor. They give them all sorts of titles and names, and then just distribute them around. So all of them kept their jobs. None of them actually got fired. So this is part of the scam. So when you're looking at diversity departments and things like that, when it's said that they're getting fired or moved on because of public pressure, or the government's withdrawing support or something like that, then you can 99% plus guaranteed that the course, they're not changing course at all. They're not changing attitudes or minds at all. The people pulling the strings are just rearranging the chairs at the table. That's all. They're just moving the problem around rather than looking for any solution or stopping it or finishing it. There's another case, just what I think of it, in Florida, where the Governor Ron DeSantis has they've got a new thing where they're not funding the DEI. You've got to take DEI out of the university, or you risk losing some or part of the funding for the university. That is taxpayer dollars. And same thing there. They just re-employ these people somewhere else, or the NGOs that have offices on the university. This is another one. NGOs that have offices on the university campuses, and you'd be surprised how many NGOs have free office space in the universities, and then employ various university faculty as consultants on some pretty good money with international travel and so on. Those NGOs they just move those people that were once on the public payroll, they just move them onto the NGO payroll, but still working in the university, still doing the same thing, spreading race and gender hatred and conflicts and so on. So keep an eye out for that. You've been with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for listening.